begin this episode right where we left off, preparing the woods for a long season ahead. We need to accomplish a few things on our to-do list. August 24th, we head to the woods to finish up our work before the bucks start moving in.
Make sure you get everything on your checklist before you start driving down the road. I think I inhaled like 4 mosquitoes. Whose bright idea it was to come out here and work in 90-degree weather, but oh man, was it worth it. We got the 2-man stand up, plus I got the platform here. That's where I'll sit if I ever come out alone anyway. But as you can see, we got a shot. I mean, that opening, you can't tell in this camera, but that's the front food plot up there. And we can see all the way to there from here. We got a cross trail here. It keeps going that way, plus goes that way. And then we got this trail that goes all the way up back in there to where the bedding is. This tree stand is set up perfectly. All right, well, I have you guys here, give you a quick food plot update. It has been 21 days since our planting. Look at all that green coming up. It's looking good. Look at these. Come over here, look at all that clover coming in. So as you can see, what we hoped for and what we wanted seems to be working as of right now. So hopefully this continues for another month and it'll be just tall enough and just delicious for the deer. So anyway, I gotta stop driving on it. That's the problem. We didn't set up trails next to our food plots. So I've been sacrificing some edges of the already pretty small food plots to drive on.
With most of our work done out in the woods, it's time to head indoors. It's time to tackle the dreaded organization problem that most of us probably face. Luckily for us in the new house, there's an unused room in the basement. That room will now become our hunting headquarters. Let's jump to August 28th, where we start to clean and organize all of our equipment. I have an ozone unit coming in the mail. That's going to get added to this, and we're going to do a test video on that as well. And then we'll be set. We'll be ready for hunting season. We'll let everything hang in here. We'll get everything washed and cleaned, and we'll let that ozone unit do its job. And then it's hunting season. But we got a lot of work ahead of us today because a lot of this needs to be cleaned and moved and taken down or what have you. So let's just get to work, shall we? With our gear now organized, it's time to take a look at our equipment. Upgrades and maintenance are usually a must this time of year. So it is time to take out the bows and do a little tuning. Range Rover, I believe. What I like about this single pin compared to most, so what I like about this single pin is this driver here is geared. So it has a tightening screw here. So you can tighten that all the way down and then you can't move your yardage slider, right? But if you leave that fairly loose, it's not going anywhere. You're not gonna be able to bump that, but you can still move it. And that's one complaint I had about my other one. And that is the only complaint I had about this slider pin is there wasn't tension there that you could move it with. So you had to loosen that up no matter what, and then move your slider up and down. It was just kind of on its own tension system. So you couldn't leave it unscrewed because when you shot, it would move. There'd be play in this, right?
That's what this, I don't know what they call it. I don't know the industry terms, nothing like that. But the gears, it literally just has gears that it can crawl up and down. So there's always a bit of tension on here. I 100% suggest you get a single pin. It has changed bow hunting for me forever. I struggled with the multi-pin setup because my vision's already kind of bad. I'm trying to get that clear sight picture with 4 pins in my way at 40, or if I want to try to shoot 60, you know, it's 5 pins you have. It's not an enjoyable experience. These single pins changed my life. I'm slowly upgrading. I got a little more expensive one, but that's still sub $100. Well, I think it was $100 exactly for that single pin right there. So I donated my old single pin to Marilyn's bow. But let's get started on the arrow work. So I have a problem with cheap targets, bad shooting, and ripped fletching all the time. Ever since I first put on one of these, I've never had a ripped fletching since. So I bought a whole new pack of I think there's 12 arrows. I cut all the fletching off them. Get this fletching put on. Then we need to go cut down some arrows for my bow. And I gotta cut 1 arrow for Marilyn's bow. And then we can do some tuning. I'm gonna do some paper tuning. And just like that, our arrows are fletched. So simple. You just want to put it in there for 10 seconds. You pull it out, you touch it a little bit, make sure it doesn't slide or move. Let it cool. Next step will be cutting, and then we can get to paper tuning. All right, on to the next step, cutting these arrows down to length. I marked one of them already. I am no scientist, so I don't know the specifics on how long your arrow should be. I draw my bow back and mark just beyond the riser, and then that broadhead sits in front of my riser. I know I see a lot of other people, that broadhead is above their riser. It's, you know, it's only a couple inches in front of their arrow rest, what have you, just outside the riser. I've marked this one. If you are struggling, you don't want to cut these at home, for whatever reason, here is the easiest way to do it. A pipe cutter. You just go get yourself one of these little pipe cutters. It cuts a perfectly straight line around. There's no carbon fiber debris in the air. You have to worry about breathing or anything like that if you're using a Dremel or a power tool. So this makes it really easy. Now you're not gonna wanna do 50 arrows with one of these because it takes time. You gotta spin it, tighten it, spin it, tighten it, obviously. In a pinch, when you gotta do, 10 arrows, this is perfect. Now that it's in there and it's solid, it's gonna be perfectly circular when I start spinning it. So you tighten it a little bit, just spin it. There we go, spin it a few times, now it's easy. Tighten it down another turn, spin it a few more times. Tighten it down a little more, don't do this too high. Oh, hear it cracking. Take one more tighten, I think. Oh. There it is, boom, look at that. And there you have it, a perfect circular cut. And I can hit this up with some, a little bit of 400 grit sandpaper wet if you want, just to clean it up. But I mean, that's a pretty clean, level cut. Now all I have to do is put an insert in them, and it's easy as that. This arrow is now cut to length, fletched. Arrow number 1, which I have to write on here now, and it's super glued in there. We'll see how it holds. I don't know how well that did. All right, this is arrow number 2. Perfect. That is pretty much what you're looking for. I got a little bit of a long tear there, but I can't tell if that's just the paper or not. That's pretty damn close. Now, if when I start shooting at longer ranges, I notice my arrow, I'll come back or I'll go get it tuned at an actual bow shop and see if they can help me out.
With our gear organized and our equipment tuned, it's time to start making our final adjustments. It's time to take the information we've gained on trail cameras and make those final adjustments to tree stands and properties to be successful opening weekend. We head to Jordan's property to do some adjustments, as well as scout some public land. On September 5th, we head out to the woods to start making our final preparations.
Feel safe on this trail. We got a tree room to stand in. What? Almost untouched by animals. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, pine trees are the key this year apparently. We can't find a way to put a tree stand up without them. And we're good to go. We created a new trail over there. That's what we were doing earlier. We put a mock scrape on the corner there. We cleared a shot out to the beans on that side. And then obviously you have wide open shooting all throughout. It looks pretty open up here, but we got branches behind us. Should give us a little bit of cover. Anyway, we're set up for success here. We're gonna move one of the cell cams over to here, see what's coming through, and it's 1 week. We got 7 days before bow hunting opener, so let me get out of this tree, stop yapping, and keep working. That's all right. Paint? Huh? Need some brown and green paint? I did this by myself before.
And just like that, the months, the weeks, the days, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the food plots, the cutting of shooting lanes, the building of entire structures in the woods, all lead up to this day. It's opening weekend. It's time to put all of your preparation work to the test. Did you choose the right location for opening weekend? Is the weather going to be right? Do you have that mature buck pattern for early season? All these questions race through your mind as all you can think about for the following week, walking through that morning dew, getting in a tree stand, and laying eyes on a target buck. Let's step into the tree stand with Marilyn. Let's walk out in the woods with Jordan. Let's see the new face of Jason in the next week's episode of The Debrief.